Right now here, tonight is reaction is pouring in to the death of 86-year-old Hall of Fame basketball coach Denny Crum, a man who was so much more than a coach to this community. He never stopped giving back and never left for bigger jobs. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. Coach Crum died this morning at his Jefferson County home, surrounded by his family. Denny Crum had been in declining health over the past year, and sports director Ken Spencer is here now with more on his remarkable life and career.
When you take a look at the coach that Denny Crum was, he is the reason that the University of Louisville is the national brand that it is today. Denny Crum led the Cards to 2 national championships, the first in 1980, then again in 1986. He also led the program to 6 appearances in the Final Four, secured over 600 victories with the program, which ranked 15th all-time when he retired in 2001. Crum's career spanned 3 decades and his style of coaching creating thousands of U of L fans throughout the course of the years.
Grace McKenna and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton are live near Denny Crum Hall right there on U of L's campus.
Well, Grace, you talked today to another legend, the original voice of the Cardinals, WHAS TV and radio broadcaster Van Vance. You know, he covered Denny Crum from day number 1.
He did, Doug. Yeah, and Vance has so many stories about Denny Crum, from the championships and Final Fours to fishing and meals with friends. He says those friends, the people close to Crum, loved him dearly. They're going to miss him dearly. But basketball was, of course, Denny Crum's life's work, and it's life that Vance is very familiar with. He was, like you mentioned, the voice of Cardinal basketball from 1982 to 1995, a time when Crum was triumphant at U of L, leading the team to his 2nd championship in '86. Vance says the whole time Crum treated everyone, from media to the players, so well. He said he coached with a calm, cool approach and didn't let his excitement during the game get in the way of his decision making.
Just about the best in the game. There's hardly been anybody better than he was. The adjustments that he made while the game was going on. A lot of times we'd be behind, but the last 4 or 5 minutes, here they'd come.
You can tell right off the jump how much Vance respected Crum and how deep the friendship and working relationship they shared over the years was. Vance says Crum's legacy will be one of incredible basketball, yes, but also of being an incredible person and an incredible Louisvillian. Live outside of Denny Crum Hall, Grace McKenna, WHAS 11 on your side.
Well, Kent, there's so much reaction coming in. We're hearing from voices just all across the country.
You know, you mentioned, Van Vance, who worked alongside Denny Crum as the voice of the Cards, but what about the players that he worked with on the court each and every day? Kenny Payne was on Denny Crum's 1986 national championship team here at Louisville, and of course, Kenny Payne is the current head coach of the Cards. Today, Payne tweeted out a statement that reads, "Today is a sad day for me personally as well as the basketball world. My thoughts go through all the lessons that he taught, not just to me, but every player he ever came in contact with. Those lessons are still relevant today. We were so blessed to have him in our lives. He was a true treasure who gave so much to the university and the community." He went on to say, "We must keep Coach Crum's memory alive," and he said his prayers go out to Crum's family, especially his wife, Susan. Now, over the years, Kentucky head basketball coach John Calipari formed a very tight bond with Crum. I talked to Calipari this afternoon, who's in Los Angeles currently, to get his reaction on the passing of Coach Denny Crum.
So kind to me, always was. When I was just coming up through the ranks, he was Denny Crum. Just a sad day. He's in a better place. When I saw him and spent time with him, I'm like, wow. But he fought like crazy because I don't think he wanted to leave Susan. I mean, he was just not ready. But I'll say he's in a better place, and he's going to be missed. And like I said, I think all of us are better because he was on this earth. All of us. I know I am.
You know, we didn't know about Calipari's visit here to Louisville when it happened. He had come up from Lexington and spent actually a couple hours with Denny Crum that day. Yeah,
that actually occurred back in December. So that was several months ago. Nobody knew about it, but that just kind of shows you the kind of bond that they had been able to form throughout the course of their years. And you mentioned that the players and the lives that Denny Crum, touched. How many players were not from Louisville, came here to the University of Louisville to play for Denny Crum? When it was all said and done, they rooted their lives here in this city. And in large part, it's because of Denny Crum and the lessons that he taught them, not just on the basketball court, but off the basketball court.
Well, he was that brand name. And of course, that relationship he had with Joe B. Hall, the former UK coach. I mean, they had their own radio show together.
I mean, think about this. You go through in the early 80s to be in a heated rival with somebody. And then all of a sudden that there's a bond that forms throughout the course of the year. And then you become friends. And then you go into business together. You have a radio show. You know, at the end of Joe B. Hall's life, and then, of course, Denny Crum, you know, they weren't just friends. It seemed like they were brothers. It seemed like they were family. And look, it takes two to tango. It takes two special people in order to make that happen.
That's a very special relationship there.
Yeah.
And that show was so funny to listen to. There would be these long pauses, and you would wonder, okay, you guys got to talk.
But
so they were having a great time.
But to be honest, I think anybody who ever came in contact with Denny Crum, like he made that meeting feel unique. He made it feel special because, you know, he actually cared about what you had to say, what was going on in your life. That's just who Denny Crum was.
Even beyond his players and other people who are important in the city, I mean, just fans. I've seen so much of that today. Just small interactions that meant so much to people.
100%.
We have a lot more coming up. Thanks, Kent.
All right, well, we have got so much more coming up on Denny Crum's career, life, and legacy. That is in a 5:30 tonight special report.
WHAS11 News presents, we're calling it Denny Crum, A Hall of Fame Life. A 30-minute special coming your way at 5:30. You'll be seeing how he started his career at U of L as he came here from UCLA. I'll have the story of Denny off the court, the way he gave back behind the scenes across our community and drew very little attention for it. It's in just a few minutes right here at 5:30.
Now we want to get to more news right here at 5, including a scary report from LMPD. A man is in jail tonight after police say he broke into a home, shot a mother of 2, and left her paralyzed.
Just more violence spilling out in our community. According to court documents, we've learned 43-year-old Corey Carney is facing several charges, including first-degree assault, burglary, and possession of a handgun by a convicted felon. WHS11's Alexis Jones reports outside the home with more details.
Court documents say children were fast asleep inside of this home on Osage Avenue when a stranger entered their home, changing their mother's life forever. Louisville Metro Police say a 12-year-old girl was the first to find Corey Carney inside the home. She immediately ran to tell her mother, but when the woman confronted Carney, he allegedly shot her several times, leaving her paralyzed. According to court documents, one of the children called 911. When officers arrived, the woman was rushed to the hospital, where she later identified Carney as the shooter. Monday, police say they found him walking with 9mm magazines in his pocket. It wasn't Carney's first run-in with the law. Records show since 2014, he served a total of 10 years in prison. His charges include possession of a handgun, escaping, and disorderly conduct. Now Carney bond is set to $500,000. A judge ordered him to stay away from the victim and her family. In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHS11 on your side.
And Corey Carney is set to appear in court again on Wednesday, May 17th.
As you were trying to sleep this morning, I hope you could. I couldn't, Doug. That lightning and thunder and hail was so loud.
Some parts of town, Shay, in our community, Jefferson County, didn't even get this. It really hit a sliver of the community from West End to the highlands of Louisville. And let's check in at some of the damage. And Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine, what that storm left behind, Ben, a whopper.
Yeah, it was like right after 3 o'clock, 3 to 5 a.m. We had that isolated severe thunderstorm that was putting down some really large hailstones. My little Skeeter dog was panting and afraid, had to plop him up on the bed last night. And it was also a lightning show, too. It was like nonstop flashes of lightning. But the storms are now gone. We're talking about some nice weather today and also tomorrow. Humidity a bit lower out there at 45% and currently at 77 degrees at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Live view with our Hughes and Coleman cam, part of our U of L Health Camera Network, and area-wide temperatures are nice and comfy out there. A little cooler off to the south, where that's where we had the clouds linger longest. Upper 60s in Munfordville, in Campbellsville, but right now 77 in Scottsburg, and Carrollton checking in at 75 degrees. So clearing out across the Ohio Valley. As we zoom in here on Futurecast, our tips will stay in the 70s this evening, and then later on tonight dropping into the 60s and eventually into the lower 50s first thing tomorrow morning. So maybe that light jacket or sweatshirt tomorrow morning, but tomorrow afternoon is going to be nice and warm again with our high temperatures in the upper 70s and lower 80s. So our forecast tonight, 53, that low temperature, lower 70s at lunchtime tomorrow, and then we'll top out right around 81 for tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be a busy weather pattern later this week. We're going to time out plenty of storm chances on the way coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much, Ben. The Department of Justice officials are back in Louisville now for a series of meetings. They'll be here over the next couple of weeks, asking what you want the Metro Police Department to look like.
The DOJ kickstarted their visit at the Middletown and Main libraries yesterday. Today, they spent hours at Shawnee Library. As Isaiah Kim Martinez shows us, trust is at the center of the community's demands.
Well, the location for today's DOJ availability was significant. Right here in West Louisville, where many residents say they've long known the issues revealed in the report. Now is their time to express the kind of changes they'd like to see.
While Monday night's discussion took much more of a forum approach, this availability was more intimate. One-on-one conversations, Department of Justice officials with pen and notepad in hand, ready to listen. A consent decree is on the horizon, meaning Louisville Metro government and its police department will be federally mandated to invest in meeting a list of reforms. But before the feds and city leaders negotiate it, they want to hear from the neighborhoods. In this case, the ones from which some of the loudest calls for justice have echoed. Monica Thomas has lived in Louisville her whole life. She was at Monday night's discussion, but felt pulled to make another appearance.
And there were three things that I suggested they do. One, get rid of qualified immunity. Two, a national database that houses the bad actors. Lastly, diversity training.
Louisville's future under the DOJ's watch is uncertain. And while folks in West Louisville tell me the issues revealed aren't new, the solutions must be. In Louisville, Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS11 on your side.
And if you didn't make it to today's meeting, there are several other opportunities to voice your opinion. Take a look here. There will be walk-in availabilities on Wednesday at the Iroquois Library, Thursday at the Fairdale Library. All of those start at 11 a.m.
We do have some good news for you from Officer Nicholas Wilt's family. They posted last night about 7 o'clock. In a social media post, Louisville Metro Police Foundation says that he is now off of the ventilator and is showing neurological improvements. Officer Wilt still has pneumonia and is entering now the long haul stage of his recovery, but has been steadily improving on a daily basis. Tomorrow will mark 1 month since Officer Wilt was shot in the head, showing incredible bravery running right toward the mass shooting at Old National Bank.